Welcome to Unwinding with Support Group, a mental health podcast by licensed professionals where we discuss mental health topics from a real-world perspective, all while having a drink. So hang out, have some laughs, enjoy the ride, and maybe learn a bit. All right, welcome to another episode of Unwinding with Support Group. As always, I'm Marlene. I'm an LPC. And before you wonder if something's wrong with your volume, no, I'm just ill. That's why I sound funny. So just FYI. And as a result, no fun drinks tonight. I'm drinking Alex's favorite water because I'm not well. But speaking of Alex, we have Dr. Alex with us tonight.
Hi.
All right. She will not be with us for the whole duration, but we're excited to have her. And we also have Kelly. Kelly's also an LPC.
Hello.
Kelly, what you got to drink?
I have my own little Long Island iced tea and some water.
Ooh. And Alex, do you have anything, or are you just along for the ride?
I've got water. I've always
She's
got
got
water.
water.
You
She
know how
brings
I
her
am with
water
my
with her
water.
everywhere.
Legitimately, I always have my water. Always. You see Alex, you see her water. That's how it works.
How it goes. So before we jump into today's topic, which is person-centered therapy and what that really is, I just actually want to start with some super exciting news. And that is how much you guys mean to me. And I mean that as my listeners, the listeners to us, because we are very excited to say that we now have over 630 downloads total. And yesterday alone, we hit 70 downloads for the first time, which is super exciting for us. So we're very excited in one day, by the way, that's 70 in one day. So very exciting times. So we're really appreciative that you guys are hanging along for the ride, and you guys share with your friends or your enemies, or people you're like you need therapy, but you're not telling them which one. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Could be a friend, could be an enemy, could need therapy. You know how this goes. But we're also in some other countries now. We have a larger Canadian audience. Some Philippines, Australia, Germany, the UK, Indonesia, New Zealand, Finland, Sweden, Spain, Ireland, India, and Uganda. So super exciting where we're all come from. So we really do appreciate you guys listening and hanging out with us. So I just wanted to take a moment to say that. So we're super excited over here.
Whoop, whoop.
I know, right? All right. And on that fun note, you guys are here for some fun talk about what is person-centered therapy. And I will give you the boring nonsense like I always do, which is essentially person-centered therapy is really focusing on like the person's drive to growth and self-actualization. It's supportive and empathetic. The therapist offers unconditional positive regard and genuineness, but allows the client to lead their sessions and find their own solutions. So I need you to think about, how does that make you feel every time we discuss this therapy? Because in this therapy, you're gonna get asked that a lot. And how does that make you feel? And how does that make you feel? And inside, I want to twitch every time I hear that. But that is a big piece of what goes on there. We will talk about what this looks like as we're going along. So, Alex, you want to start us off since you've only got a little bit? What about person-centered therapy do you like? Do you dislike?
Ugh, I hate the how does that make you feel? I try to reword that every time that I can. I never say, how does that make you feel? Because I'm just like, ooh, cliche. Ugh, throws me off. So I'll try to say, meet yourself where you're at right now. What are you experiencing? Um, let's go in through the noggin. I want to check in with you. What are your emotions? So I try to ask it in a lot of different ways to help guide them and lead them into that self-discovery because I just feel like sometimes, how does that make you feel? Doesn't quite get it there. And again, every time I hear that, yeah, every time I hear that, I'm just like, oh,
You want to twitch inside, don't you?
yes.
I do feel like cringe.
It is. It's awful. So just kind of, person-centered therapy is very much so helping the person in front of you meet themselves where they're at right then and there, and what they've experienced to get them there, and what they feel like they've learned from it, and how they're going to move in the future. So it's a lot more complex than I think the how does that make you feel could ever hit.
Yep.
Agreed. Yeah, for sure. Kelly, how about you? What do you like? What do you dislike? What are your thoughts?
I think all therapy comes from the person-centered approach.
And there we go, because I feel the same way.
No matter what you do, like it just hits from there. Every person is an expert in their own lives. It's a fact. I don't know the person that is sitting in front of me, and I have to be humble enough to know that. And so when I am sitting there talking to them, I have to recognize that I have not lived this person's life. I don't know what they are going through. The only thing that I know is what they tell me. And they could be telling me a whole bunch of untruths, but I go with what they tell me. And so I have to treat them with unconditional positive regard, which is essentially empathy, meet them where they're at, right? And go where we just go on that wild ride, man, together and see where we end up. And the thing I like about person-centered therapy is that it is honestly the foundation upon all therapy, and you can build from it everything else.
I agree. I want to talk a little bit more about why, like, I am in support of that theory, and I'm going to talk about like the core pieces of what person-centered are, which you said, the unconditional positive regard. Alex mentioned the here and now, right? Um, the therapist makes non-judgmental, warm and accepting environment. Well, once you've been my client for a while, I'll probably judge you.
Same.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell
Liter-
you that, or I'm gonna be like, for real, you did that?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Literally
ooh.
had a client the other day say, I don't want to tell you this because I know what you're going to say, but
Yep.
I'm going to tell you this because I know I need to. And I was like, what? And they told me, and I was like, mm, I just looked away. I was like, I'm not gonna say anything. I was like, I'm not saying it. I was, they were like,
Same.
that's
Same.
exactly why I didn't want to tell you.
Listen, the amount of times I have heard, I was gonna go do this thing, and then I was like, if I do this, then I have to tell Arlene, and she's just gonna fucking yell at me. So I'm just gonna not.
I've heard your voice in my head before.
Oh my God, that is what that's a concept that is I find entirely weird. The amount of times I'm like, I hear you all the time, and I'm like, oh, you poor thing. You have my voice in your head? I'm so sorry.
I know. I hear my voice on the podcast sometimes when I hear it, like I click on it just to, like when you post it or something, I'm like, yeah, and that's what you hear in your head. I'm
Right. I
sorry.
do. I was like, oh, you just be hearing my voice? I'm sorry that you live with that now. My bad. But no, it's like that. Like it's so, but really the non-judgmental is like it's warm and accepting. And I think really what it is like accepting you as a person. Once we've built some rapport, we're probably gonna talk shit about your behaviors.
Yeah.
But that's part of how I build relationships with my clients. So but we're also back to the empathetic understanding, which again, I don't know. Uh, I don't even, I'm not even gonna, because it's empathy, guys. You just are empathetic. It's like the core piece of, I don't know, the helping. The next one is fun for me because I have this conversation a lot when I was supervising therapists is congruence. So you're just genuine, you're just you.
Mhm.
And this idea that you have to be this super professional counselor and be this polite, meek, oh, professional version. No, clients will see that as fake as fuck and they'll know it for real. Just be you.
Yeah.
the non-directive approach, right? Like Kelly said, the client is viewed as the expert in their own life, which is true regardless. Like you're the expert in your life. It's the taking the lead in therapy, rather than relying on the therapist for an interpretation or advice. And like that's where I'll probably skew out some, right? Like, because I'm gonna tell you that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Please don't ever do that again. Um, like, listen, I'm gonna share this, and the people who I'm gonna share this, my clients are gonna know exactly who they are when I share this. I had the weirdest fucking week last week, and then we have to say goodbye to Alex. I had one client tell me she discovered that while they're helping their fifth grade daughter do homework, that her husband didn't know what the Supreme Court was, and that she then started judging her own life decisions because she married this man. And I was like, fair. You've like reevaluated your whole life now. She's like, yeah. And he's like, an hour later, you're still thinking about it. She's like, I'm gonna think about this shit for the rest of my life. And then 4 days later, I was sitting with a client who tells me her sister's boyfriend doesn't believe in space.
What?
Can
Sorry.
literally see it.
No, no,
I
no,
know.
it's not real, apparently. And I was like, okay, listen, this is happening to me in 1 week. And I was like, I have so many fucking questions.
Listen, we're therapists, but we're also human. So,
I did. I looked at my client and I went, I have questions. And she's
mhm.
like, I have none of the answers. And I was like, but I have questions. What do you mean? Are we like in the simulation? Like, is that where this goes? Like the simulation theory that we're all just simulated and but there would still be space, wouldn't there? Or are we just floating out in a cosmic gel?
Maybe if this, hey, Keanu, if it's the Matrix, hey.
I'm just saying, like I'm just some thoughts. But it was very I was like, this is 1 week. And so listen, when things like that happen, you get an authentic reaction from me, like, I'm sorry, did you say space? Not real. I'm sorry, that's just happening.
Literally, me today, one of my clients said something, and I was like, wait. I was like, I'm so sorry. Too many things just came into my head at one time. I need to pause. Wait. So, like, just overwhelmed with the questions of what just came out of your mouth.
Yep. My clients always know when they've got me because they love to point out when I get speechless. They're like, "I got you," and I'm like, "Uh-huh, you got me on that one." Because what?
Yeah. So, understanding like that's what it is. But if these are the core principles, I think these are just the core therapy principles. I think along the way, this is my own personal thoughts. Person-centered therapy was good in the beginning of when mental health was a brand new shiny little baby. And we needed to say, hey, we're not Freud. We're gonna treat things a little bit different. We're gonna do this. Let's care about our clients.
We're
Let's
gonna
let
smoke
them.
pot and not do cocaine about it.
I mean, if you want to, but it probably some shit you need to report in your license. Just some thoughts, um,
You
because they
mean the
asked.
foundation of it's not you, it's your mother is wrong?
I have so many thoughts about Freud, as many people in this field do.
Yeah,
Um, I was thankful for him for doing the things, but also recognizing I have so many thoughts about what he did and the ethics and the whole shebang of it. So, and also penis envy every time, every fucking time. Could we just be the fact that women felt like crap because of the time that it was when women didn't have any rights, and that maybe women just, I don't know, wanted independence, and he was like, nope, they want a penis. No, dude, they just wanted to be seen as a person. Just my
mhm.
thoughts. Or my other thought is he stumbled across trans people and didn't know how to fucking name it. I've
And
had
then
both
we
thoughts.
and then we have Carl Rogers, who's like, "Hey, let's just give everybody unconditional positive regard forever and ever, amen."
Right, which now I think at this point we've evolved enough in this field that that's just the foundation of therapy.
Hmm.
Like it's just the core principles of therapy. The client is the expert in their life. Be authentic to who you are. I don't know, be empathetic to their life, their circumstances, even if they don't match yours,
Yeah.
and provide them with like positive regard, right? It's therapy, the space is supposed to be the space where you can drop all your shit. So like it's an accepting environment. You need to feel safe and valued. At this point, I think that's just the core of therapy. I don't think it needs to be, we should still be labeling it person-centered therapy, but that's just my thoughts and my 2 cents.
I'll meet you on that. I
Well,
think
before we get too deep, Alex, are you hanging out or are you going?
I'll depart for the evening, but I'm so excited for next week, and this is just gonna get better and better with just you two. Oh, you guys.
Well, I wish Bree was around, but she had some things to take care of tonight because, she be doing her thing too. So,
You mean therapists have lives?
how dare she? How dare she do some things for herself? That's so
What?
rude. So
So
rude.
rude. But listen, love you guys. Keep up the amazing work. The podcast is amazing. I'll see you next week. I'm so
Uh,
happy to be a part of it.
all right, Alex, we'll
love
see you
you.
then.
All right. Bye.
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 All right. Before I was like, we're gonna get into this, and she's gonna be like, I need to go.
And, and then there were two.
So, but back to what you were saying,
What was I saying?
that you'd meet me on this is the basis for therapy now.
Oh yes, absolutely. Because it really honestly is. There can be no therapy if you don't have this as a basis. Period. The end. If there is no trust, if there is no rapport, if there is no meeting someone where they're at, then there is no anything. You
Right.
can't get people to buy into the therapeutic relationship. And the therapeutic relationship, regardless of what modality you're using, is what is healing. It's the
Yeah.
relationship between therapist and client that heals. If you come to me and you're like, "Hey, Kelly, I have OCD and I am just thinking about, you know, wanting to like stab people in the throat all the time and I need an ERP and you don't trust me and we have no rapport, I'm not going to be able to get you to do ERP with me. It's not going to happen.
Big facts.
And the way that we get rapport is through
You
person
know,
therapy.
also just talking to one another, being accepting of who they are, not like critical of the person. And
Exactly.
remember when I said like I get judgmental about behaviors, like, oh, what you do? Oh, you did that? Oh. But again, this is post building a relationship.
Well,
So my people know that like I'm saying this coming from a challenging perspective. And it's just part of how I like, oh, you went to the family Thanksgiving dinner after we discussed how it's going to be a shit show. Oh, and tell me, how did that go? Oh, it was a shit show?
I wouldn't even call that judgmental. I honestly, I do that with my clients too. And we across the board with my clients usually just call it good old fashioned like jibing, like giving
I
each
think
other the
it's,
rib,
yeah,
picking on
I
each
think
other.
it's like it's once you have good relationships, um, you can challenge that way, I think, right? You can challenge in a way of like if we didn't have a good relationship, it'd be judgy as fuck.
Yes.
But because I can say, oh, yeah, how'd that go? And you
How'd that
go,
work
it was
out for
fucking exactly the same way you said it was. Shocked.
you?
Call me shocked. Those kind of things are just like the fun pieces of building the relationship, where like you have that piece, but
That's
in
where the healing is.
correct. But I think if you don't have the relationship where you're authentic to yourself as the therapist, how do you expect a client to be authentic? And
Mhm.
correct, because the environment is off, and everyone I've ever interacted with in a therapeutic setting reads people really good at it usually. And if you're being fake as the therapist, guess what your client sees, right?
Oh, they're very uncomfortable.
Correct. But also like recognizing that one thing I think individuals with like mental health struggles have that people without them don't is like this inherent ability to see and read people. in ways that we'll say neurotypicals don't have inherently. It's more of a learned skill. But it's a lot of times that people with mental health problems, regardless of the disorder, regardless of what it is, have learned how to do that for their own survival because of their mental health.
Mhm.
But it's something very unique. So if you as the therapist are fake as shit, they know in the first 10 minutes of talking to you.
Oh, yeah.
So what the fuck are we doing? Right? Like they're gonna be like, yeah, sure, let's schedule, and they ghost you.
Yep.
They don't show up. Now, I'm not saying that's every time a client doesn't show up. Please no, clients still be clients and have their own stuff going on. And like we all know that starting therapy is difficult and doing the whole thing is hard. And sometimes it takes people 3 or 4 times to feel comfortable enough to do that, depending on the reasons. But also recognizing if you are fake as the therapist, you're never going to build an authentic relationship. So you're just wasting everybody's fucking time.
To that end, I remember a meeting that I was in a company I worked with once, and they specifically told us that the client was not the expert in their own life, and we had to treat them as such. And that was a red flag for me because we had to be the experts in the client's lives. Otherwise, they would not know what they were doing with their lives. And I did not take that advice because it flew in the face of everything that I knew. And while I can see that people, and the reason I bring this up is because when we say that when we're talking about how people are the experts in their own lives, you are coming to us for help. And what we are saying is that you have the knowledge of your life that we do not. And somewhere deep inside of you is the answer to the questions that you are seeking. We are just the ones that help kind of guide you and lead you to it. We don't know your lives. We haven't lived them. And whatever modality that you're seeking from us, if we're trained in it, it still requires you to be the expert in your life, the person that knows your life the best. We can still only be the guide and or the coach, you know, that teaches you these skills. And that always stayed with me because it took away agency and autonomy from the clients when what the clients really need to feel, in my opinion, when they come to therapy, oftentimes is agency and autonomy. They need to feel that. But they also at times need to feel boundaries. They need to feel someone who's going to call them out on their bullshit, who's not going
Mm-hmm.
to co-sign the bullshit, who's going to meet them where they're at, who's going to do all of these things within this realm of
Mm-hmm.
empathy and, as Rogers put it, unconditional positive regard. And so we come back to the very beginning of, the person-centered therapy. It all comes back to that. And if we disregard the idea that people don't know, themselves, even subconsciously, I feel like we're missing the boat here.
I agree. In my educational journey, as well as every additional thing I've ever done, and Lord knows, there's 7,000 letters after my name, so I've done a lot of random other things. But realizing that, like it's always been phrased to me. The thing that stuck out to me most is always like that. As a client, you are the expert in your life. You come to a therapist or you come to me because I'm the expert in the therapy,
Mhm.
right? I'm the expert in the therapy. You're the expert in your life, and we come together to help you figure out where you want to go.
Right.
And that's always the key. Like, what do like when I'm building out goals, what do we want to do? What do you want to accomplish in therapy? What is the plan here? And if we don't have a plan, then we're just sitting around shooting the shit, and that's great and that's wonderful. But that's not what you come to see me for. You didn't
Right.
come to see me to just like have a friend. That's not what we were doing. You came here because you have some shit to do, right? And so recognizing these things, I think that's important of identifying that both people in the room are experts, just experts in different things. And that's why it works together.
Although I will say I have had people who have been so avoidant at meeting their goals that they have literally paid me to be a friend.
Yeah, I know. That has happened. It
Um,
usually isn't generally why people come to therapy, but at some point you're just like, all right, so I'm just gonna come here and shoot the shit because I don't have anybody else in my life I could talk to
mhm.
this way, or I can be supportive, or
Yep.
whatever. Like it does end up feeling like I'm just a paid friend, which I find weird to feel, but like the relationship itself is still authentic.
hmm Like, if that's what you need, okay, but let's
Right.
talk about and make these boundaries clear. Um,
Yeah.
it's still what the person needs, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It falls within that person-centered therapy kind of approach. It's like what are your goals? What do you need? Do you need just a place to come and vent every week? That's what you need? Okay.
Yeah.
That's your goal.
So again, still the expert in your life. Like if you
Hmm.
know that you just need that, then cool. Like I have
Yeah.
no problems being that. I just want to
Hmm.
make sure like we're not missing out on something we might need to do along the way,
Exactly.
those kind of things. But I really think if we look at these as just the core principles of therapy, you're going to start identifying when you have a bad therapist.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I don't know. This is probably a really big secret. So, this is just
Oh
between
no.
us and all of you. Not everybody's good at their job as a therapist. And I mean that in no way to throwing shade. I just recognize that some, like, for whatever reason, it's not working with you. They're just not good at the job. Um, and I say this as someone who has dealt with people who have trauma from a previous therapist.
Yes.
So, and the ideas of like having to go through that and is shitty, right? And I would never wish that on anybody, but the truth is just if you've been to therapy, you probably know this. You probably stumbled across someone you were like, oh, this feels wrong to me, or this feels off, or you weren't necessarily sure, but it just didn't, or you stayed in therapy for 2 years and never got better,
Hmm.
like things of that nature. Not that they're horrible, it just wasn't, they weren't meeting your needs. Again, back to what you were. And I'm not going to get into like the practicing things they're not trained in and what fucking happens. And I want to throw punch people for. Um, but like you only do the things within your scope, right? Like it's a do no harm type of situation and recognizing these pieces. So I don't, if you just look at the core things we've said, right? The client is the expert, the therapist is genuine, the therapist is empathetic and warm and accepting in the environment, then you have basis right there for like, does this feel good? Now, we might get into there's more nuances as you go along in the relationship of like, is this gonna work? Is this person like good at what they're doing? All these other things, but recognizing if you can at least start with these four things, then you're at least going up into it with like, okay, I have some launching off points because at least they meet the basics.
Hmm.
And that is the basics, the bare fucking minimum.
Yeah. You know, one thing that I like to recognize is that, and I usually do this whenever I first consult with a new member, is I go into it realizing I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm Appalachian as fuck. Um, Southwest Virginia represent. And I am just unapologetically me. I mean, y'all know me. You've been listening to me. You know how I am. But I also am very aware of, you know, my areas of expertise, what I can treat, what I can't. I will refer out. I'm not afraid to refer out. And whenever I consult, one of the things that I always say to people is I wholeheartedly believe in agency and autonomy in treatment. And if you feel like at the any point, but especially at the end of this consultation, that we are not a good fit, please let me know and we will work together to find you one. Because that goes back to again the person-centered therapy of putting the person first.
Right. I'm with you. I also agree. I know damn well my personality, my approach isn't for everybody. And I know that because that's just the human way. Like, it's why there are so many different therapists with so many different things. If I'm not it, I'm not it. I'm not necessarily going to take that personal. And I think a lot of times clients get worried of like, oh, they met you and now they're
Yes,
worried about hurting your feelings.
yes.
And, you know, look, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, it's not personal. It should never be personal. Of like, we just don't vibe. That's cool. Like, the vibes can totally be off here, and
Mhm.
that's fine. But I'm with Kelly. Let me find you somebody who might be a lot more along your vibe level. I want you to get the help. If you reached out to get help and I ain't the one, I will help you find them, right? Like, because that's my job. Like, that's just the end of the day. My job is to help you get where you need to be. If that's not me, that means I can help you get somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like,
No harm, no foul.
if you're just like, look, Arlene, like, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. I get it. I swear all the time.
Hmm.
I rarely dress professionally.
Same.
Um,
I have
I
dogs that like to give their opinion.
listen, and when I'm in my in-person office, like I'm slouched down in my chair, I'm like
Hmm.
damn near lounging in the sitting chair. Like I listen, one of my clients said to me that she was in a meeting and said we were talking about professionalism. She also works in the field, and she's like, "What are you talking about? If I could enter my sessions with Arlene with her feet up on the desk."
Uh-huh.
She's like, "I put my feet up on my desk." What do you mean? Granted, we've been working together for a long time. She's like, "That's weird. Why are you being weird?"
I have clients that I've worked with for years that come into session. They're putting on makeup and I'm putting on face cream. Like, hey,
Right.
girl, hey, what's going on? You know, and I think that to a point, that's the beauty of rapport in a
Hmm.
lot of ways too. And there are going to be people out here who disagree with me on that, but
I agree.
um, when it comes down to it, rapport is rapport. And if somebody is comfortable enough with me to talk to me about things while putting on their makeup, and they don't care if I'm putting on face cream or, what have you, while they're talking to me, and it makes them feel more comfortable, so be it. That's just the way it goes. Remote therapy has changed the way that this stuff looks.
Okay, but also, um, again, I have an in-person office. I have eaten lunch in sessions before because I'm hungry. And you think
Right?
they like they're like, oh my God, please eat.
Yes. I've had clients that have asked me numerous times, even in remote, can I eat? And I'm like, Lord God, please don't starve yourself.
Right.
Don't care.
Bring a snack. We'll eat together. I don't give a fuck.
We
I
call it
need to eat
coffee talk.
though. Like shit. Um, like I'm a human being. Just
Hmm.
because I'm gonna eat a salad while you're talking to me doesn't mean I can't listen. And I also can't be like, ooh, let me tell you about what you just said. Like, I might be like, hold on, let me finish chewing this. Just like, give me a minute. But I'm still present. I can do those things because it doesn't take it away from it. But like recognizing, I'm also not going to eat lunch when I meet with somebody for the first time.
Mhm. And it makes you kind of wonder and step back where the idea of the etiquette of professionalism came from
Mm.
in so many ways. because a lot of therapists that I know, colleagues that I work with, are very much like I am. They're very approachable, very human. They are, and they thrive because of that, because people want to go and speak to a person, as we've been talking about throughout this session,
You want to speak to a person
this session. Yes.
this session? And
Speak
this
to-
session, please, thank you for stopping by in this session.
Right? See, it's like ingrained in me. They want to speak to a human being. They don't want to speak to someone who's like, and we go back to, and how does that make you feel? My go-to, and how's that sit with you? How's that working out for you? Um, those are my go-tos. But they don't want to speak to a textbook. And human beings eat and they breathe and they wear hoodies when they're cold, or like me, I'm getting the nickname of like the Carhartt therapist because it's cold here and I'm freezing all the time.
She hasn't adjusted to moving out from the south.
I have not. Um, but like we're humans and people want to speak to humans.
Well, and I think we'll go back to the professional idea. I think we go back to like this idea that the power dynamic piece of therapy, right? Where if I'm the one who has the power, then I need to be the professional. They're seeking me and my guidance and my skill set and blah, 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 blah. Okay, but being who you are doesn't take away from professionalism. I'm still
No.
professional. I still provide professional services. I still, regardless of the fact that my degree is no longer deemed professional, I still provide professional services.
Amen. Right?
Huh. Um, but I'm still providing those things.
Hmm.
The amount of times I've had anybody say anything about what I wear when I'm in sweatpants and a
Zero.
fucking hoodie is none. Why?
Same.
Because nobody cares what I'm wearing. And that's what I think I enjoy more about like younger therapists is the idea of exactly this. Like, oh, I'm supposed to be some stuffy person in an office who's like, oh, and how does that make you feel? Ooh. And all of these things that like textbooky we were taught, but not be real. And
Mm-hmm.
so I do enjoy that younger therapists are like throwing that out. Nah, bitch, we gonna be real in here. Stop being a dumbass.
No, I agree. The only time that I've had anybody mention anything to me, they have always just been concerned. Are you cold? Are you warm? And I'm like, yep, it's just really chilly here. Um,
Right. Nobody cares.
no,
Nobody cares what I'm wearing.
no, most of the people that I see are in pajamas,
Right.
truth be told. And
Right.
they're like, and they ask for my pardon. They're like, please, forgive me for being in pajamas. And I'm like, y'all, please.
Listen, like I either work from home or at office, and whatever I'm wearing in my work from home, I'm wearing to my office. And
I,
that's real. Like, I wore a nice shirt and some comfy ass pants because I work from home. So
mhm.
please, they're comfy. And then I go to my office when on office days and I'm wearing the same shit. I'm not changing because now I'm in person and need to present in some special kind of fucking way. And like now I need dress pants. Like, now
And
don't get me wrong. People who love to dress up, that's cool. Do that. If that's authentically you, do that. But also if you're doing it like because some idea of professionalism or like that's just weird. And this is also like considering that I know if you work in person, agencies generally have a dress code, and that's something separate. And I find that annoying because I can't,
I do
but
too.
also I get it.
But if we take it and we bring it back to if we bring it out to the macro and we bring it back around to Rogers and we look at it from the person-centered perspective, and we're looking at being in the immediacy, the here and now and the uniqueness, then we are to be true to ourselves in the moment.
Hmm.
and meet the person that we are talking to as we are and to come as we are.
Yeah. I think you bring that up of like, we're here, we're right now, we need to be authentic, right? And that's just not just like, I can see that you're frustrated. Well, no
Mhm.
shit, they're fucking agitated. Like, it's not just that kind of being present in the moment and doing that. It's
No.
also like, okay, your baseline stress right now is probably trash because the world's on fucking fire. What else is going on? That's here and now, right? Like, there is a baseline stress level though that most people are just walking around with, and to ignore that
Hmm.
is unfair. To also acknowledge that for some, I was gonna say some, but I mean all minority groups at this point, um, that level is thicker.
Yes.
Baseline stress exists, and to ignore that there are environmental things going on or the here and now, that's just bad therapy. It's just not real. Like, and to say these things of like, okay, listen, the world is on fire. Here we go. My session today. She's like, my sister died, my other sister's getting a divorce, and now there's a fucking war. And I went, yeah, all that's fucking sucky. Where are we starting?
Hmm.
Right? Like, all of that is fucking sucky. Where do we need to start? Because none of that is sounds great, right? But to not pretend that there isn't like all this shit going on is also bullshit.
No, it's true. I had a session today where I was working with someone with a lot of trauma, like myself, and it was affecting her physical well-being. She and I spoke, and I said, you and I both know that it affects our physical well-being. It affects our physical health. So we're going to sit here and just be sad about it, or are we going to come up with a plan about it?
Yeah. Like, again, we accept that there's other shit going on. Like, I routinely say your mental health and your physical health are connected. It's almost like you're a whole ass person. I mean, it's crazy.
You can't have an emotion or a thought without it showing up in your body because
So,
you are a
a
person,
whole ass person,
doctor, right? Oh no,
right?
holistic, heart, mind, body, spirit.
So, like, being able to recognize like there's shit going on, that's like a part of being the here and now. That's about meeting somebody where they're at, right? The amount of sessions I've had that were strictly just about political things or the current environment or like all of these things like continues to grow exponentially. Um,
Yes.
but to be able to acknowledge that these are real life impacts, these are real life things, to be like, sorry, we can't talk about that because you really came to see me for your trauma. You somehow don't think any of this is impacting that? Huh.
Mhm.
No, we're going to talk about it because you need to talk about it.
Yeah.
We need to process through it because you need to process through it. And I don't know, maybe you just need to fucking yell and scream at something because something needs to be yelled and screamed at. I will sit here and you can yell and scream. And
Yeah.
then I'll be like, fuck yeah, want to do it again?
Yeah.
Because was that helpful?
Yeah.
Let's do it again. Fucking scream into the void. I told somebody one time, look, if you only can get it out, you feel better when you yell and scream into a fucking pillow. Who's gonna stop you?
Amen. I do it.
Like, whatever works at this point. Like, recognizing these different pieces are important because they're also part of the here and now. To say nothing globally or nothing in the country economics, the economy in itself doesn't impact people, stop talking because money stress is real.
Lord, is it ever?
So,
Um,
so like you can't act like these things that are outside of someone's control doesn't impact them. And that isn't before we've gotten into systemic issues that impact disproportionately to populations of people. And that's just going to be a real thing. So recognizing all of that to be true means like I need to be present for that. Whether I feel the exact same way or not is fucking irrelevant.
exactly. And that's a big component to it. I I also recall a time where I was given guidance on how to And it wasn't just me, it was others. It was as a host of people. Reminder to put our differences aside. Like we did like we didn't know because we weren't trained or and I use trained in air quotes. You can't see me yet because we don't have a YouTube.
She keeps bringing this up. She's like peer pressuring me.
I
I,
am.
I find it very rude. This is what peer pressure looks like, everybody.
It's not peer pressure. It's like me being like, Arlene, let's
Peer
do it.
pressure.
I love you. Love you
You
so
can
much.
dress it up however you want. It's still peer pressure.
I love you so much. But like, uh, it's not like we don't already know this stuff, like put your differences aside because of politics or whatever. And I found it very offensive because that's what we do every day because of person-centered therapy, because this is the career that we chose, because it's the path we chose, because it's not just a career, it's something that we chose. I don't want to say a journey. It's just what we chose. It's what we chose to do. And we do it. We don't have to agree. We're sitting here
No.
with you in your time of need. I don't need to agree with you on everything to sit here with you in your pain. And I don't
No.
need to be reminded to do it. Like,
I'm sorry, but this whole thing where you went and got a degree and then took a big old giant test for, and then have to continue to take continuing education for on the rest of your motherfucking life. Yeah,
right?
can you remember to not bring your personal shit into therapy? And I do know we're gonna go back to I know there are bad therapists and blah 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 blah, but at the core, like recognizing no shit.
The vast majority of us know how to do that.
No
Thank you.
shit. Oh, you mean I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, I disagree with your stance on that?
Hmm.
Crazy. We might have a conversation about that, and I tell me why you feel that way. Tell me what's going on to help me understand. If it's
Yeah.
that important, we're gonna do that because I want to help you. It's not for me to challenge your belief system.
No.
I was like,
I-
hey, let me understand where you're coming from so I can help you to do better.
In that moment,
Absolutely. Like, yeah, I
it's
don't
about
have to
you,
care
Becky.
about the rest of it. You're a person hurting. Like you're a
Exactly.
person in pain. Like that's my like I say it's my job, but also like we're gonna say most people again, most people who join this field do it because they're helpers. My job is to help because I'm a helper. It's what I fucking do. Whether it's because I am inherently this way or my own fucking trauma, whatever. Chicken, egg, here we are. Have a great day. Like, no shit. Oh my God, you came here for therapy and you're in the middle of a traumatic moment. Ooh, yeah, I don't even really think that's real. Have you considered that maybe it's in your head? Sorry, sorry. Every woman in the world just went, damn it. I went to the doctor.
I know, right? Have you
Sorry.
gaslighted yourself about that today? Um,
Yeah, sorry, sorry. Every time. Have you considered that it's all in your head? My favorite line when you go to the doctor.
I don't know.
They usually say though, I'm sure this is just anxiety, which is why I say, have you sure you've just made this up? Are you sure it's not just all in your head? Um,
I went back to Freud and I was like, have you done cocaine about that today? Just kidding. Um,
JK. But nah, I think like you bring up good points here about like, dude, this is just at the core what we do on a daily basis.
we don't need to be reminded of these things because, and I say this with my chest, with my absolute, like my breast chests, person-centered therapy. That is why we don't need to be reminded of it because of unconditional positive regard, because of our commitment to meeting people with empathy, with where they're at, with uniqueness, ourselves, our who we are as people. That is why, and I'm talking not about the outliers, I'm talking about the majority of people in this field. We meet people where you're at. And in that moment, we don't have to agree with you. It's not about agreeing with you on anything. It's about helping you find what you need to find for yourself, to find that peace, that solace, whatever it is that you're looking for. It's not about us. The furthest thing it is from is us.
And honestly, I think that's a great place for us to end today, right? I think that's a great place. So per usual, I appreciate you guys all hanging out with us. Sharing, like, follow, comment. There's a bunch of people listening now. We could, you could comment, let us know what you think. Something like that. We might enjoy that. I'm saying we would enjoy that.
Absolutely.
But other than that, we enjoy you being here as always, Kelly. I appreciate you hanging out. And I appreciate Alex for the time she was. Next week, we have a very special episode, which I think is super cool. I interviewed a guest for a podcast-a-thon. So we're going to raise some money, hopefully raise some money for their nonprofit. So look forward to that in the following week. I'm very excited for you guys to learn more about that nonprofit, and hopefully we can, help out in that way too. So that's a very exciting episode coming up. And other than that, again, we'll see you around. Thanks for stopping by, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Unwinding with Support Group. Follow us on Substack. Give us a like, a follow. Give us a comment. Tell us what you hated, what you like, what you want us to talk about next. Let everybody know where they can find us too. But thanks for hanging out with us once again.